Wait. One thing I wanted to know about this particular team fight, real quick. So if you're in a scrim environment, generally it's this guy's job with being your main support, which is generally defined as Mercy slash Lucio player. There's generally kind of on their responsibility to be able to carry most of the ult tracking understanding. Where like on my team, like our main support player, he does like do that, but we also help him as well. Like sometimes I'll ask questions like, did they use ult X, and then if we've seen them use it, then we'll say yeah, and if they didn't, then we don't. But it's primarily on the main support's responsibility to track ults. However, a lot of new teams is really hard to like track six ults at the same time. So they'll have their counterparts track ults. Like the Reinhardt will track Reinhardt, Zarya tracks Zarya, Widow tracks, I guess Sombra, Projectile tracks Projectile, which is Brigitte, and then Anna, Mercy, Lucio. Um, so the reason I bring this up, anytime you're at an advantage in a game, you want to play more aggro because you don't want to let the enemy get their own advantage just by sneaking around and doing stuff. You already have the advantage, so you might as well just go take the fight then with an advantage fight. So here, you're at a disadvantage already going into this fight because you have one, two ults. They have one, two, three, four ults. So that being said, play on point would be my recommendation. However, one other thing is something kind of within your comp inherently. You are running Death Ball and not a Lucio, which is going to turn into a problem because your Widow is going to pop sights, and it's going to detect the Sombra, which has EMP, which is crucial. You need to kill that guy. Or either that or force her to use Translocator. And you see her and you just kind of like poke her a little bit. You don't even like kill her or force her to use Translocator. Which if you had done that, so this kind of gets into a little bit complicated things, which is you could hit the W key on the rest of these guys, and you'd be taking what's called a local 5v6, which basically, since this Sombra is separated from her team, you have to fight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, and you have 6 guys to do it with. This concept also applies for Farm Mercy comps, where since Pharah's in the air and Mercy's in the air, you can jump Reinhardt, Zarya, Widow. Well, Widow's probably going to be on her own, and the Anna's going to be alone. But these Reinhardt and Zarya guys, they're going to be together, so you can just jump those guys alone, and it's a local 6v2. But there's no guarantee that the enemy can do that, and that's not to say that Farm Mercy is flawed in any way. That's just like the main principle you want to apply when going against Farm Mercy, because this is going to make a lot of space. This is really hard to beat. Especially with a Widowmaker. When you have like two long-range GPS, they make a lot of space for each other. So let's see what goes on. So here you kind of make a little bit of a mistake, kind of having like low actions per second. You don't really get anything out of like checking here. Well, I guess you do check for the Sombra, but this would have gone a lot differently if you had a Lucio. So here, what a better thing to do would have been, if you're really wondering where the Sombra is, you have sights. So this sights alone, so the Sombra's been one of the heroes that I've been trying to learn because I'm like an off-tank main, and within the previous meta, before 222 was kind of the thing, like Sombra was in the off-tank job description, so I tried to learn it. And the thing I kept making a mistake of was tracking sights because I would go on flanks and they would pop sights, and then they would know that I was on a flank, and they would just go kill me. So you can use the sights ult alone just to figure out where Summer is. Two, go farm your grab. Like, be throwing like right clicks at these guys, because I mean, like, and another thing is when you're on this flank, you can just like go look for some energy. Like, um, if you use your personal at the engagement stage, then you're gonna get engaged on, and it's basically a free kill because you're not gonna be able to protect yourself. So you want to use it at the poke stage, like early in the poke stage. And yeah, so here, another thing is your synergy with your Reinhardt. I don't know if he just didn't like hear you call it out, or if you didn't call it out, or like you didn't have a Lucio so you can chase the Summer down. But your Reinhardt needs to get in on this guy with you, like everybody actually does. Because if they use Translocator, then you can just go jump the rest of the team, and it's a local 5v6. And this is like, yeah, you're giving the Slumber like way too much space. And yeah, so let me get to the right frame. This position right here. If you could potentially use this position to press S and then get away since they have more ults than you. Um, oh, there's a video about space where he predicts that the enemy is gonna have all 6 of their ults, and he makes a call to play on point and is able to make the enemy use all 6 of their ults. I'll see if I can find it and post it in the description of this video. Okay, let's fast forward it a bit. So here, so a couple things. So you end up getting the Lucio, which is good. Though this, in my opinion, this McCree should be switched to a Hanzo, because on a map like this, the sightlines aren't like, there's not a whole lot of like high ground areas that can get very good sightlines for Widowmaker. So generally, McCree, it's kind of hard to put him in a long range DPS slot. But basically, if you have 2 long range DPSs that are able to take cross angles with each other, then it makes it really hard for the enemy to shield up against that. And Pharah, her cross angle is down, and then the McCree's false angle is forward. So if you have a down angle and then a forward angle, I'll just let me. Okay, so if your Pharah is here, your McCree is here, and the enemy Reinhardt is shielding with green. He either has to shield the shots coming from Pharah, or he has to shield McCree. So here he's shielding McCree, but if he puts his shield up, then he's not shielding McCree anymore. See, yeah, you can't shield both at the same time, basically. Another option is you can take left-right cross angles with Widowmaker and Hanzo. So if you have a Hanzo right here, pretend like this is an aerial view, like you're looking at this from the sky, and then you have like a Widowmaker over here, and then your Reinhardt is here. So and then you've got a team here. So they get this side line, they get this side line. So you either have to you have to put the new shield here, and then this Hanzo gets even more sight lines, or you have to put the shield here, and then the Widow's gonna get even more sight lines. But the thing about McCree is he does not put as much map control as a Widowmaker or a Hanzo, because he's his range is not, like, he deals half damage at the longest range, which I'm not sure what it is, but Hanzo is gonna be able to like deal more damage at range. He's just better at range than McCree, but the benefit you get out of McCree is CC, and you get to help your Ryan in a Ryan v Ryan matchup more. But the benefit you get out of Hanzo is just more map control, really, and more high ground acquisition. Like, he could have been up here, and on this left high ground was another spot that he could have taken. Over there as well. Something to note, in general, I feel like your synergy with your Reinhardt could be a lot better. Right here, so you're getting poked at. First of all, I want to make a comment on you getting energy. So when using your bubbles, wait till you start taking damage to use the bubble, and then use the bubble, and then you'll get energy. But if somebody's not taking damage and you're expecting them, they're going to take damage at this point, and then you press the button, then you're most of the time not getting energy, because the enemy is going to be able to react to your bubble. So you have to wait until they start shooting it, especially against projectiles, because once it's shot, like, they can shoot it while you don't have it up, and they'll just block it with your projectile. They even hit scan too, but and you've been up bubbling your Pharah. This is kind of a waste. Your Pharah is not really gonna die, so nothing's really gonna in this comp. Nothing is lethal to the Pharah except for a halt and hook. So at this point, your Pharah is kind of a little far away for the combo, but if your Pharah was a little closer, then the Orisa would have called Zarya no personal, throwing suck at the Pharah, and the Rodot would have hooked it, and you wouldn't have been able to block their halt hook combo. So here I want to talk about your synergy with your Reinhardt. So you're jumping this Zarya, and I think your Reinhardt's just playing on point. So here, you need to either get on the slumber or play on point. And if you do end up playing on point, like trying to force the enemy onto point, then you should have gone to this. You should have gone left, so basically, with Reinhardt's shield, you need to think of it as like it's a means to get another shield. So say you're playing here, and you're getting shot at by the enemy from like here. This barrel right here is the enemy. So you need to use your shield to get up to natural cover. So this wall right here is your natural cover, and you need to kind of you can go in and you just kind of like go in and out of the corner, and if you take damage, you can shield up again, or you can go back in. And then if you want to push even further, then you use your shield again. But your shield, in reality, is this wall. Not just this, because if it's just this is just a battle of who breaks the shield first, which is determined by the team comp. But in reality, there's a lot of smarter ways to play the game, where even if you are gonna lose a shield break battle, you're not necessarily gonna lose the fight, because you could have taken the natural shield. Or you, the other option is if you do go right, then it's like swing on them some, or like I don't. So another responsibility I talk with like target calling. It's the main tank's job to call out who to kill. So he can come jump the Sombra with you, and then yeah. So yeah, by yourself you're not gonna kill the Sombra, because if you're already low energy. Like, if you're high energy, you could probably do it, but if you're low energy already, a Sombra will not give you any energy in general. But especially if she's next to a Mega. So she's next to the Mega. So your McCree and your Pharah trade. It looks like he jumps off the map, but the Pharah ends up booping him, and he gets res, and then you die. So the immediate call out here. So anytime that you're down 2 players, like if it's a 6v4 or like a 5v3 or 4v2, you've lost the fight. It's just considered a loss at that point, unwinnable. So the call out needs to be to press the S key, but they end up resing, which is not the best decision. It's not the worst, but I would probably just hit the S key at that point. So when I said like yeah, so this is kind of also the reason why you should just hit the S key is, so yeah, you end up getting the Orisa, but they end up killing your Mercy, and then, so like I said, with like the shield, it's like a means to a shield, or if you don't have a shield, you can just kind of play like, more of like a brawly play style, but, yeah, so here you're just in a corner, like, there's no escape route, you don't have enough healing to like sustain this, they're going to just break your shield, and then you can't get away. And then this is kind of like a wasted B, because this fight was lost already. Actually, I think that B might actually clutch it. Wait, no, your winner said, and this is lost. Yeah, so right here is good. Farming the grabs, like you're looking for ultra. That's a good level on your McCree. I probably wouldn't have reacted to that myself, actually. Oh, that's unlucky. Your Pharah kind of got a little out of position there, a little too close to them. So one of the things to note, I'm pretty sure, yeah, you kite this pretty well, but use the call out kite for ults like EMP. Like, you can just hit the S key when people ult like that, because there's one point where Shrek uses his square at one point, and you're like right here, and you could have just kited it, like. Because at that point, they're just going to get double the damage that you are. So you might as well just wait 10 seconds and then not die. And then you can just go back on them again. Okay, nice. So at this point, you should be tracking your ults and discussing which ults you're going to use. So I don't think Barrage gets tracked, because the Pharah goes on a flank. Yeah, so if you know that enemy Pharah has Barrage, it's really crucial to be able to find her. Because a lot of the times they end up going on flanks and stuff. And that's, I'm pretty sure, what happens in the next team fight. But we'll be putting it on times 2 speed and finding out. So, right here. This moment right here. Use your prisoner. Because you're trying to get energy. And you don't wait until the engagement section. You want to use your personal beforehand, because basically if you wait until the engagement section, like I said, you're going to be the one to get engaged on. But then you don't look up where the Pharah is. So something to note about 2CP in particular, on offense, every pick that the enemy gets on you is equivalent to 2 picks, because you have to walk back from spawn. You have like twice as long to get back than if you were just kill the enemy. So if they kill one of you and you kill two of them, you're even at that point. So you have to take like really, really, really like clean engagements. Like you really don't have any room for error on like 2 CP offense basically. It's second point mainly. I mean first point is not really that way. Okay, and then yeah, so yeah, everyone kind of dies. So you should be hitting the S key because so your Reinhardt's dead, and I think some other people are in spawn as well. Okay, so who is it dead? So your Pharah is dead as well. Here, Lucio. Um, so perhaps tell your like Lucio player this, but what he should be doing right now is helping your McCree, your Pharah, and your Mercy get out of the spawn because there's um like I mean yeah he can like farm his ult, but I mean like it's gonna be a lot better if like you can take your engagement faster rather than just like yeah and then yeah so his first thought should be go back and help your Reinhardt get back faster to speed boost. So in a goats v goats matchup, the projected bubble is another way that you can get engaged on easily by another Reinhardt because they have Reinhardt for a source of unblockable damage, which basically means if they have a shield, the shield will block bullets, but it won't block melee attacks like Reinhardt's hammer, and it also won't block Brigitte's hammer. And then generally your Zarya is going to be able to help your Reinhardt, and your D.Va is going to be able to help your Reinhardt a lot. And then Lucia will like flank or stuff like that. So the Ryan is really, really susceptible to being dive if you waste personal. However, you're not in a goats matchup, so you can kind of be a little bit more like liberal with your projected bubbles, but kind of communicate it to your Ryan that you're using it for the sake of getting energy as well. And I think you do, so that's good. And then you get the Roadhog. Yeah, bees. If the enemy uses supercharger, focus it, like, cause it's essentially every player on the team gets nano boosted essentially. Because I'm pretty sure it's a 50% damage buff, but it's but yeah, I mean obviously you don't get the damage distance from it, but also if your McCree's dead, um, so sometimes you'll have to solo grab people. Like Doomfist is a target that we end up solo grabbing a lot, in my scrims at least, because he just I don't know, he's annoying. He gets away with a lot basically, and so we end up just solo ulting Doomfist most of the time. So Pharah, so now that your McCree is dead, um, you can wait for the Pharah to get close to a wall and then grab the wall. So like right here, you can grab that Pharah. But I think you end up winning this. So wait, your McCree gets res? Oh, I didn't see that. Oh yeah, he does get res. My bad. And another thing is, I think you end up looking for it, but oh yeah, that's kind of unlucky that they took the right entrance. But yeah, using like your graph to preventing them from getting back to point. But that's fine anyway. You end up cleaning them anyway. Then you have to attack them with this Bastion. This is annoying. My team's win percentage against this is probably like 20%. Like, I don't know. Even against teams that we're like looking really strong against, if they pull this comp out, we have a really hard time. This is really, really hard to beat. But so your Reinhardt has a right idea. So um, I don't think, given how the team was running Somber Goats, I don't think you're in the 2-2-2 forced version, or maybe they just lied and went 2-2-2. But so goats is generally, if you can get close to them and run goats, that's generally your best option. On a lot of maps you won't be able to, but on this map, since they're not running a Symmetra, they're not going to be able to teleport away, so you're going to be able to get in close to them. Also, another thing is, so in this comp you need to look for two things. One, the fact that they're running a Baptiste, or the fact that they're running a Symmetra. But they're not running Symmetra, but they are running Baptiste. So Baptiste means running dive can potentially be difficult. Generally, getting an EMP is the best option, and then you would switch this to an Ana, and you would switch this to a Brigitte, and you would just play Somber Ghost and then get close to them. And the reason this is an Ana and not a Zenyatta is a lot of teams will run Zenyatta and Zenyatta's good, but I prefer the Ana on my team at least because you can do the EMP anti-nade combo is strong because they're not gonna eat it with Matrix, they're not gonna block it with a shield. You can essentially just get a full anti on the enemy team. So you want to get attacked. So your goal needs to be. Get your. There are some stairs behind your gun. These stairs right here. Walk up those and then get close to the Bastion. Also, another thing is any comp that has with the Deluxe Diva is inherently a lot weaker against Bastion. So yeah, you would consider getting a Diva. Also, Sombra Goats is strong against Bastion as well, even though it doesn't have a Diva. If it's played correctly, your routing has to be like really good. Like it's really difficult to run, but if you run it, it's one of like the better options, or if you run it correctly, that is. So your Pharah is dead. Did she get res? I guess that's okay. Yeah, and this is where I'm kind of my complaints with like your synergy with your Reinhardt. You can be with him, like you need to like get with him, you know. Like he's up there fighting like a Bastion like all by himself, except with like Sombra. He's got Mercy to deal with. He got Shrek to deal with. He's got Orisa to deal with, and the Bastion to deal with. Yeah, like get with him, you know. Like, okay, but so the Orisa jumps down, so that's fine. Then you delete her. So they square. So your first instinct needs to be get into a place where the square does not have LOS on you, which is underneath this thing. Is the closest place at least. Yeah, so square is really scary. Just so you know, it's square visor combo does more damage than nano visor. Like it's that much. It's double damage. Where a nano boost will deal 50% more damage, this deals. It's essentially having 2 nano boosts. It's really scary. So like don't mess around with square. Just like get into the cover, especially if they have a Bastion. So throw right clicks at your feet. I'll switch to. I think you end up doing this. Yeah, you do it right here. But I'm just like more right clicks, more because your healers are gonna heal you up eventually, and I mean you're gonna get your shield back because it's shield, you know. So you might as well just throw as many right clicks as you can. Yeah, and throwing it at the enemy is good as well to get your ult. And then I think yeah. So the EMP you you didn't have beat. So the outplay to EMP a lot of the time is if you have either beat or transcendence, the person carrying that ult will hide, and then once you get EMP'd, then they will jump out and then use either beat or transcendence. And the outplay to that strat is the Summer has to find either the Zenyatta or the Lucio, hack them, and then use an EMP. But that is not as easily done against Zen Goats in case they have both beat and transcendence. But that's not super often that they have like both beat and trans. And your Pharah pops off. You're hacked. So that's in general, as the off tank, it's kind of your responsibility to help the Pharah with her barrages. So you either give her projected bubble, or you give her defense matrix, depending on what you're playing. But you were EMP'd anyway, so you couldn't have done that. But I just make the comment just so you're right. Yeah, it's good to focus the lamp as soon as you can because the lamp will. A lot of teams don't focus lamp, and then they'll get them to like 40 health left, and then they start focusing lamp. Just focus the lamp first. So your Reinhardt dies, but let's take a look at how you use your last projected bubble. Real quick. What do you even? Oh, you're using personal. My bad. That was probably a good use of your projected bubble. He was really close to their hog. Though I would argue he was kind of out of position there. I mean he doesn't really. I don't know. As Lucio, and you don't kind of have to get it in your mindset. The W key doesn't necessarily mean more damage. Like you literally might as well just like play behind your tanks, and then you can see more of what's going on in the team fight, and then make better callouts and stuff like that. Like, I mean, he doesn't need to be in front of the tanks. Like, so yeah, he kind of draws out you to give your projected bubble on him, and then the your Rhino gets whole logged, and then if you had your bubble, you would have been able to save him. But that's fine. Okay, so like I said, anytime they get their picks are worth twice as much as your picks. So this is already lost because this is equivalent for them getting two picks. So you're essentially taking a 6v4 when you do this on the specific second point of 2 CP map. So hit the S key at this point. You can get some energy though. That's good. That's a good idea. And then, okay, so you get the Pharah. So now you're at a 5v4. And they res. Okay, so you're at a 6v5 at this point. So that's good. I keep forgetting about the res. Nice, nice. Well played. So, a small thing. When a tracer gets that close like that, essentially, 25 damage. Actually, I don't know, but I'm not sure the exact stat. But if you deal 25 damage with your gun, that's basically the same as doing this, except you get all of the damage in 1 second, more or less. Like I don't know the exact amount, if it's more or like actually less, but basically you deal a lot more damage per millisecond. Like in the millisecond, how much damage you would deal with this is a lot more than this. So if a tracer gets that close to you, right click melee her, and then it will delete them. And I think that's the end of it. So some things to work on. Try to like match your positioning to where your Reinhardt is, and basically in any given tank duo, the two tanks need to be on the same page on the goals that they want to accomplish, whether it's like killing something or securing a certain area. And I feel like in a lot of scenarios, like you and your Reinhardt weren't necessarily on the same page. Where either you'd be killing something and your Reinhardt would play on point, or like vice versa, stuff like that. So one of the things you can do is if you get the opportunity to like duo comp with him, you can have your Reinhardt call out like what like he intends to accomplish, whether it's like killing something or taking a certain position, and then try your best to like match it up with that. But it's not like the easiest thing to do. It's kind of like difficult, especially if they're just getting started with their target calling, or like maybe you're getting started like being able to like listen to calls and like being able to focus on calling. Like I mean, listening to somebody call and like playing the game at the same time. Also, another thing, use your personal bubbles, like in the poke stage, not in the engagement stage. Because there's one point, like at the beginning of the video, where you use personal, and then so you give the enemy an opportunity here. They don't end up capitalizing off of it, but right here, they're in a ghost matchup, so they can just hit the W key on you, and then they can just go kill you. Like you're not gonna be able to get peeled for it, especially since you don't have like a Brigida. I mean, your Mercy and your Anna could, oh, then it's close to Nano Boost, so you probably would have ended up getting killed for it, but you would have forced your Anna to use Nano Boost in that scenario. And trying to think of other things. But I guess those are the main things.